guys from Falcon Shocks flew us out here to Utah to test their latest shocks for pickup trucks, and they've provided these three F-150s. Here we have an all-stock crew cab 4x4 F-150 2018. Here we have a 2018 truck with the latest kit, Falcon shocks. Shocks for the front and also in the rear. They are adjustable in the rear. And here, finally, we have a 2017 Ford Raptor, the pinnacle of off-road performance from Ford. And here's the question: can you get to Ford Raptor level performance by just adding shocks and tires to a regular F-150? And that's what we're here to find out with two types of tests. Towing test with about 7,000 pounds and also a high-speed off-road run. Alright, here I go. My first run in the stock F-150. This is an XLT crew cab, 4x4 with a 3.5 liter EcoBoost. This is a bumpy stretch of highway. A good test for a towing comparison. We're towing about 7,000 pounds with this Big Tex flatbed trailer. I can feel the truck moving a little bit on its axis side to side. As soon as you feel some motion, it becomes dangerous, especially with a heavier trailer. So right now I need to slow down to about 55. So far this truck is handling this trailer with not much issue, but I did notice some sway. I did have to slow down. According to the Falcon Shocks guys, they picked up this crew cab truck, right, you see here, for about $36,000, which is a great deal for a 4x4 crew cab. Of course, this Raptor, brand new, starts out at about, what, $55,000, but fully loaded like this truck, it's about $72,000. Now it's the Raptor's turn. Same stretch of road, same trailer. The overall towing ride quality on the Raptor, I would say it's similar to the stock F-150. So in this section, I can kind of feel the trailer pushing the truck just a little bit. Of course, the Raptor is an off-road focused truck. It's not really meant for towing. Yes, it can tow. It's not rated quite as highly as other F-150s. Actually, quite a bit lower. It's between 7,000 and 8,000 pounds, depending on your configuration for the Raptor, for maximum towing. And the payload is much lower too on this truck. Anywhere between 1,000 and 1,200 pounds, depending on your configuration. Of course, the stock F-150 can go all the way up above 3,000 pounds of payload if you get the heavy-duty spring package. It's a little surprising, the Raptor actually felt similar to the stock truck as far as towing confidence and stability. This gray F-150 is equipped with the Falcon Sport leveling system with tow haul adjustment on the rear shocks. This kit includes new front and rear shock absorbers, but uses the rest of the existing factory suspension components, including the springs. We have to talk about payload, and the important thing to note is that the Falcon shocks, or any shock, actually doesn't change your payload rating or how much your truck squats.
Right, so it doesn't affect your ride level of your truck. So if you don't have airbags or heavy reliefs, it's still going to squat, but what it does do is it gains you stability. So even if it's squatted, or even if you have airbags, it prevents that radical movement. So shocks don't do anything unless you move them.
In this case, this Raptor crew cab is actually rated at 1,049 pounds of maximum payload, which is typical for an off-road focused truck. It's not just about the Raptor. If you look at other off-road trucks from other manufacturers, the payload ratings also come down. Here on the Falcon F-150, we're using 33-inch tall BF Goodrich KO2 all-terrain tires, and the reason why we can use a 33-inch tire is because this also offers a leveling kit, so the nose of this truck is actually 2 inches higher and the height is adjustable to your liking. Of course, the Raptor is all stock 35-inch tall BFG KO2 tires. This is actually a good illustration of the factory rake. What I mean by that is the front end is actually, you could see it much lower than the rear. And this is before we hooked up the trailer. And when we hook up the trailer, the truck should level out. So if you don't like this look, when running empty, you can actually raise your front end.
Now here's a question, Andre. If you raise your front end and put some weight on the back, aren't you blinding oncoming traffic?
Yes, you could, so you gotta watch out for that. This is the firmest setting, and then middle and the softest.
Anybody that's towed a vehicle or, you know, trailer or what have you, camper, have gotten into a swell and felt that loss of control where the vehicle's wagging. And what this does, this allows you to go from, you know, a normal non-trailer, non-loaded vehicle, and then you can crank up the damping within just 3 positions.
So what is it doing in tow haul mode? It's making the shock stiffer?
Much stiffer in compression. So as the vehicle, you know, compresses and it comes up, usually where you lose control is that vehicle comes crashing down, and you kind of have that tank slapping kind of bad behavior. And what this does is allows it to slowly come down versus loading up the tires.
Okay, this is my towing loop in the F-150 equipped with the Falcon shocks. And the rear shocks are adjustable and they're set to the firmest setting. There is no side-to-side motion, very controlled up and down motion. But the adjustability of the shock actually helps. Yes, you do have to come out of the truck, get out of the truck and adjust it, but you'll be doing it anyway if you're unhooking the trailer. So it's fairly handy. I did the loop one way in the firmest setting, setting number 3, and then on the way back, I switched to the soft setting, number 1. I did notice a difference. In the last section, the really bumpy section, the trailer was moving the truck a little bit more. I could feel it. It was going about the same speed. This Falcon-equipped truck has a payload rate of 1,673 pounds. Obviously, the shocks, once again, do not affect your payload or how much the truck can squat. Naturally, when you're getting the Ford Raptor, you're getting a lot more for your money. First, you're getting a high output 3.5 liter EcoBoost with 450 horsepower. Then you're getting your 35-inch tall tires from the factory. You get a Torsen front differential, which helps off-road. You have a rear locker already there. According to Ford, the Raptor also has a strengthened frame, which is important. You're getting all kinds of electronics, plus you're getting the Fox shock technology from the factory, 3-inch diameter shocks, and the wider stance of the Raptor, which just looks mean, right? But what does this all mean off-road? Well, let's find out right now. Let the fun begin. Here I am on the off-road trail, and I'm on the stock F-150. Got stock tires, wheels and tires, stock shocks, stock suspension. And here's my procedure. What I would like to do is I would like to maintain about the same speed on this pretty rocky route. On the stock F-150, we're using the Goodyear Wrangler Fortitude HT tires, basically the tires that are available as a factory option. And of course, this is not an all-terrain tire, so I have to be very careful with my line selection because I don't want to pop a tire. But you know what? The stock F-150 is actually not bad. The truck seems to be fairly happy, and I'm gonna get a couple of slight air situations where I get a little light. As much of a connection to the road. The truck is still listening to what I'm telling it to do, but I feel a little bit removed. But still, I'm very impressed by this stock Ford. This chassis and this frame, very solid foundation. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm actually surprised how much fun this trail is in a stock truck. Oof, I think I bottomed out there. Ouch. Okay, so the top speed was about 40. I was able to maintain about between 25 and 30 miles an hour. I went to Baja mode, straight up. 4 high, traction control disabled. I'm gonna try to maintain about the same speed and see if I can go higher. This is a Raptor after all. So the Raptor is wider, so that's one thing to keep in mind. I just came from a stock truck. There's at least 6 more inches of width here, maybe more. The Raptor, first of all, it sounds louder, it sounds meaner, which is a really cool thing. It just kind of is leveling out a lot of these imperfections. It kind of floats over these areas. I didn't feel bottoming out like I did in the stock truck at all. I have a lot more suspension travel, 13 inches in the front, 13.9 in the rear. It really shows. I can immediately tell a difference. The Raptor is much heavier, but the suspension system is designed for things very similar to this. There's a giant rock there. Have to miss that? Okay. Okay, now I can really get a feel for it. That wash was nothing. It leveled out that wash. Let me see how it will do on these areas where it kind of loses some of its contact with the dirt. No problem. Very interesting. Okay, that was a full in the air. I can take this at much higher rate of speed. Right now I'm going 35, where I was going about 25, 30 in the stock truck. But I don't feel ultra connected to the surface. Let's talk about pricing on the Falcon shocks. The basic kit, non-adjustable, starts at around $1,350. And if you do want the adjustability for the rear, that kit costs $1,550. And there's also about 3.5 hour installation time according to Falcon shocks. So you're looking at close to $2,000 if you want a fully adjustable shock kit for the F-150, which is available for trucks starting from the 2015 model year and through the current 2018. Yes, it's a lot of money if you think about other leveling kits or other shock systems you could get on the market out there. But Falcon shocks are actually produced here in Utah. So Paul, what makes the Falcon shock unique and better than competition?
Some damper manufacturers, they have a standard shock, and what they do is they try to fit it wherever they can. It's easy. There's not a lot of R&D development and cost associated. Maybe you change it a little bit, and maybe it's not perfect, but good enough. What we do is, depending on the vehicle, we're very specific, and we'll make new body caps, we'll make a whole new body design. We'll do what it takes to fit the vehicle correctly, and we're not done till it's correct. There's no half steps.
So what are the specs on this? This is a
2¼ inch, and we found this to be a particularly good size because when you're up to 2½ inch, sometimes it hits the frame and it just runs into things, or you have to modify the vehicle quite a bit. And then the other things we do, it's a nice pretty exterior, but if you look at the interior parts, they're just as nice as the exterior parts. They're anodized, they're finished well. We don't use a plastic piston. This allows for, we don't have to worry about permeability of the oil and gas. And then the piston, of course, this is the most important part, and this is a billet aluminum part, hard anodized for wear. And we don't skimp on the valves either. This is not bypass technology. It's a fairly simple design, but it's in the details with most things, the execution of those details.
And the Falcon shock guys always keep telling me, yeah, go a little faster, Andre. Yeah, no problem. I'm maintaining about the same speed as I did in the Raptor. Actually, what I can tell is, even though I'm not an off-road racer, professional racer by any means, I'm just a truck guy and truck journalist, I can tell that I feel a little bit more connected to the surface. Like, I have a little bit more confidence, which makes me go a little quicker. I haven't bottomed out yet, and this is going to be the final... Whoa! Okay. I think I bottomed out a little bit, but I was going 35. I can put it where I want it a little bit easier. And I feel a little bit more control at this speed between, 30 and 40. Although we're featuring the F-150 system in this video, Falcon shocks are also available for the current Ram 1500, the current Silverado 1500, Toyota Tacoma, and some others. So what's the verdict? Of course, to build a Raptor by yourself, you have to have a lot more components, right? You have to have a really powerful engine that sounds amazing. You have to have a lot more wheel travel, but in my opinion, personally, I think the Falcon shocks transform the F-150 from already a good, solid vehicle off-road into something more special. And it only takes, what, about $1,500 for the suspension, for the shocks themselves, a little bit to install them, and tires, maybe $1,000 for the tires. And if you got an FX4 package on a regular F-150 with a 5-liter V8 and put the Falcon shocks on it, then you have something really special. Maybe not a full Raptor status. Go back to tfltruck.com for more news, views, and real-world suspension and shock testing reviews.